Rafterman and Zed here, and after years of promising a series on my builds, I'm finally publishing one. The new series is called Monument County, a fictional North American Western High Plains themed region with a Great Lakes port city vibe. It should be a real treat to build, and an honor to share with the City Skylines 2 community. The town of Echo anchors the series as the county seat, at least for now, as we build a history for the region. I have ambitious plans, with every block being highly detailed. I intend to build the town organically, mirroring the history of Midwestern American cities. Once we've sprawled enough, I will introduce freeways and satellite towns to make it as realistic as I know how. Admittedly, at this stage, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to go with the flow until I can create a process for making videos that doesn't interfere with how I enjoy the game. So fair warning, video styles may evolve or devolve depending on how much time I have to devote to making them. Do stay tuned though, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for updates to this build. Follow me on Reddit as I often post screenshots of my progress on the City Skylines sub. Please also check the description for the mod list. Every video is going to be an experiment for me. This first episode focuses more on establishing Echo as a town with services and details, so I won't focus on anything in particular, and I'll rely heavily on hyperlapses to at least demonstrate parts of what went into establishing the town. Some things I created off camera, but I left a lot of useful inspiration for those who want to implement new things into their cities. Future episodes will go more in depth with the methods I use to build each stage, so stay tuned. There's a lot to look forward to. And with that, let's get to the hyperlapse and start building. I'll catch you at the end of the video for a preview of the next episode. Kicking off the hyperlapse, I wanted to highlight the base road network that's going to frame the historical blocks of the city. Using real life as a reference, I formatted the blocks to be 144 meters by 112 meters in size. This is roughly the average block size that I concluded looked best for City Skylines, and that was authentic to real life. Within those blocks, I created alleys and above-ground power lines to service the Main Street buildings. The road network is anchored by the train station, which is typical of Western American city centers. Most towns of our starting era grew outwards from the train stations as it was the best way and sometimes the only way to get to these towns. The location of the town is significant because I want to imply the importance of agriculture and the quarry nearby. I want the city to exist for a reason, and you'll see more of that growth in future episodes as I build grain silos and ore facilities. Additionally, I've created my own custom roads using the Road Builder mod. I wanted to standardize the road widths to accommodate future updates to the game, and make it easier to reconfigure the roads as needed. Most towns have ordinances that dictate the widths of their streets from sidewalk to sidewalk, so I figured this would be a good way of introducing realism and standardizing the city. Next, because we don't have mid-density mixed commercial and residential assets that resemble American storefronts, I got creative using a mod from Kushnik. Yes, I hope I got that right. Hopefully I didn't botch the name. But the mod converts all of the buildings from the game into props that you can place and move with Move It. This was important because now I could use the mixed zone apartment buildings and sink them into the ground and place a functional commercial building under it to mimic low-density American main streets. I plan on also hiding a small row house in a few of these so that the area is actually functioning as mixed density instead of just being a commercial building with a prop. You'll see me rely heavily on this technique because it really adds to a modular and varied look to the town. An important part of a city is its alleyway access. It handles most freight traffic and deliveries, while also serving as some off-street parking for businesses and residents. Here, you can see that it took advantage of some really nice decals that I found on Sully's Discord channel that portray that run-down and cramped area behind the buildings. Alongside above-ground power lines and dumpsters, I'm quite proud of the character it's giving the city. Every small town needs an auto shop, and throughout this series, you'll see some areas where I spend too much time detailing. In fact, you'll see most areas like that. I really enjoyed creating this facility, and for some reason creating junky, stained backlots with busy storefronts really brings the city alive. Here, I decided to mix in the hospital garage prop and place two functional commercial buildings, using the better bulldozer to clean up the props and get the look I want. It's one of my favorite highlights of this build. Ever been to a small town in the Midwest, especially those where the boom days are long gone? I found that leaving empty lots everywhere, especially when you're running out of inspiration, really helps sell the realism of your city. Here, I replicated a recently torn down commercial building to give the blocks a bit more of a variety. The benefit of these empty lots is it gives a city more of a story later when you decide to revisit the area. Cities are constantly being redeveloped as needs change, and I think this approach really helps you balance out your creativity and the city's look. Every town has a town square. Some only have a small park with a fence, and others have large grassy open spaces that served as a good place to host markets, fairs, sports, events, and generally provide outdoor recreation. In the town of Echo, I wanted an event space that was big enough to build upon later and be aesthetically pleasing. I want to call attention to my favorite detail, the train engine. If you've ever been to the Midwest, outside of the historical train stations, you'll see a replica, or original, train engine that tells the story of the railroad and the significance it had to the town's history. I spent some time making it look authentic, and I think it's a nice touch to add some personality to the lot. The American Midwest is rooted deeply in religion, and no town would be complete without at least a few churches every few blocks. So, I discovered I could make quite a convincing looking church using a prop service building from the cemetery asset. Dubbed the Church of Chirp, my Sims now have a spiritual hub that they can go to pray for the expedient development of the town. Because we might run out of money while I go overboard with decals and surfaces, so they'll need all the prayers they can get. This one I'm super proud of. You may have seen the tip I put on the City Skylines subreddit where I discussed using single fence props as the backstop for a baseball field. First, I made a backstop using the prop line tool. Then I copied the props a couple of times, raising them at each step. To sell the look, I then angled the top fences by 45 degrees. I think it looks really nice with Sully's baseball field decal. Now, I know a few of you keen-eyed baseball aficionados will notice the football uprights in the middle of the right outfield. My original intent was to create a multi-purpose field, implying that the uprights were removed during the baseball season. Though, later in this video you'll see me adjust that plan after I got the feedback, as I realized if I have the space, I should take it. It'll look nicer. Finally, throughout the rest of the series, you'll notice I start to lean heavily on some street and curb decals from Sully's Discord to overlap some of the side streets. Because the vanilla road textures aren't really my taste, I use these to add a bit more authenticity to the look of my side streets, and I think it worked quite effectively, to the detriment of my FPS. I'll mention that I did alter these textures from the author as I wanted less repetition with the gutters. So, there you have the first episode of Monument County. I hope you gathered some inspiration from my build, as I love seeing what people create on Reddit. I'm always blown away by the City Skylines 2 community, and I really love contributing my creativity. City builders are my favorite genre of game, and I've been a huge fan of them since the SimCity days. If you like this video and the format, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. The videos take a lot of time and effort, and I'd be very grateful for your support. A big thanks to all of the modders who are making all of this possible. I'm thinking about making a save file available on Patreon in the future for people to play with. Please let me know in the comments if this is something you'd be interested in, and I'll see if I have time to keep it updated and make it worth your while as a viewer. But for now, this is all I have for you. Stay tuned for the next episode where I take on the monumental task of building a grain silo on the northeast corner of town. I'm really excited to make that episode, and I'm really excited to show you. Until next time, I'm Rafterman NZ. Cheers!